Wow, what a holiday week. Welcome back. Hopefully y'all took some profit on some of those call outs, man. We were on fire for the last couple of broadcasts and nailed every target. That's 4 weeks in a row of 100% perfection, and I love it. And now we're looking at some really crazy market conditions, but their bias is pretty bullish on a lot of things. And then there's a couple of shorts that we might talk about if we get time. We're a little limited today. Matthew's got to break off at about noon here, dealing with some fun stuff.
Micro strategy, the gift that keeps on giving.
Right? That volatility is sweet for scalping, but man, it makes a headache for the guys who's got to manage the fund. I'm sure you've been on the phone.
It does. I think front page article of the Wall Street Journal on that today.
Nice. That makes it extra fun. And we love volatility. Yeah. And the market's been very fruitful with giving us some major plays. I'll go over QQQ real quick and my outlook on it, and then we're going to break into a few watch list items here. So I like to watch long wicks on candles at certain ranges. So that's how I find my liquidity zones. And usually you can trade from one to the other. You can trade from position A to B, I call it. So A is the bottom of zone, B is the top. And this wick back here for the all-time high range is gold. I always paint those gold for some stupid reason. It just looks cool. And they give us really fruitful targets, as well as we get measured move blocks here. You can see my primary move is measured here, and a secondary gives us a target of about 518 for a breakout today if we get outside this zone. But in the meantime, we've been scalping the crap out of it this morning. I mean, we get into a 1-minute chart, and we found range on this little wedge here, traded back to that pullback pivot, and bam, bounced, ripping through this. And we're very likely to hit what I call position B in the liquidity zone here, although we're kind of stalled at halfway in the middle of the day here. It's kind of normal. So these plays give us just really awesome future scalps, option scalps. 0-day traders are having a field day with QQQ and SPY lately, and this is what we do. We just scalp it and move on. We don't need to be married to anything except for our swing trades. We get married for a couple days and then we get an annulment and move to the next one.
Best way to do it.
Yeah. Keep it fresh.
Yep.
So our swing trades have been playing out pretty awesome lately, and we've got some to review from last week that are just kicking butt. Apple here, I called out this bull flag, and I know we're right in the range where we could still tip over and pull back. We're right in the quarter move of the measured move block that I laid out here. But so far, that strength has been pretty killer this morning. I think we got a pretty good shot at hitting that 250, 260 pivot right in the middle of that block. From there, if it remains bullish, I mean, we got a pretty good shot at hitting my self-proclaimed analyst target up here at 282, but that might be a little while. Apple tends to move a little slower than this, although look behind us. That parabolic move was pretty easy to spot. It was a really nice measured move before. Can do it again. Apple is that kind of player. And we're starting parabolic already, so apples to apples. It's a good setup, a good trade. I'm long. I'm still rolling with it. I've got some December 20th expiration contracts that I'm profiting today to cover my risk in my January 17th that are continuing to run and also kick butt. My position is a weird one on that. I've got the strike way out there in the 280, 285. And I'll probably roll those, but I only paid 2 cents a piece for those. Pretty damn cheap. They're trading at 4 now. It's 100% return. They spiked 5 yesterday briefly, and they might even go to 5 again today. That's all I could ask for.
My strategy on Apple, obviously a little different. I mean, I think these guys are going to be, or could be, the winner of AI outside of NVIDIA. So this is, a long-term hold. I've got January calls, which I bought a while ago, that as we get closer, I'll roll, something long-dated. Because, again, I think this, for me, this is a core position that I trade around.
Right.
I wouldn't add to it up here, but I would look to add to it on a pullback.
Yeah, I got in long right in the base, right as a tested support of that block move, and I'm still riding. It's looking good. And it's a great core position. I mean, you mentioned that, and essentially, we kind of have the same beliefs of AI taking this thing to the next level. And the setup on the chart technical analysis says, yeah, dude, it's game on. So everything kind of aligns for Apple, and it's a great core position to trade, and then you can go and scalp all the peripherals that move with it. So anytime, they've mentioned somebody they've partnered with in the past for whatever reason, we'll just play those too. At this point, I haven't even been paying attention to the news. I just trade the damn chart and ignore the news more or less until I see something really fun come out. But Apple's been very fruitful, very, very nice setups, very easy trading stock. Love that chart. Very simple. A couple other things we've gotten into, and you were getting long on AG. That's starting to come into effect now. And looking at the weekly chart, it's made its reversion. It's primed for a good support area for a buy. Short-term target maybe about 695. Long-term target can hit the 770 level again. I would expect some liquidity around there, though, just also because it's kind of the low side of reversion trade from the previous descending trend. So be a little nimble on this one for swinging, but I like it. It's a good setup, and
we've got a couple things going on here. I mean, you've got an undercut and rally today at the 200-day, which I like. One of my key themes going into 2025 is the Fed is still clueless. You had a Fed governor come out yesterday. I forget who. I tweeted about it. Who basically said, hey, we're on track to cut interest rates, and man, I'm still scared of inflation. Like,
right?
What?
Yeah.
If you're scared of inflation, why are you cutting interest rates? So, I think you want to own crypto, you want to own precious metals. I think in a lot of ways it's the same trade. A couple weeks ago, we filed BEGS, BEGS. It's going to be 100% long crypto, 100% long precious metals.
Sweet.
So 75% Bitcoin, 25% Ether, 75% gold, 25% silver. And I think that's, that's a set it and forget it type of investment.
Agreed. I mean, anytime inflation's kicking up, I mean, the cryptos and the metals are going to do what they do. And it's not just a place to park money. It's a place to actually take advantage. So there's quite a few, both junior miners and direct metals, ETFs and stuff like that in there that you can sell options on and make income on it anyway. So, I mean, it's doable. It's not the kind of percentage I like to swing. I did take a position that I got assigned on NVDX. That's the kind of volatility I love to play because I know the yield is damn near 20% on that one. I can trade that, where comparatively, if you're parking money in something with precious metals, I mean, you're still respectable. I mean, it's still going to be, 8% average monthly income on the options chain, which is doable. You're still beating the S&P at that rate. So it's, learn to sell options. You'll enjoy it.
What I don't, and it's been a while since we've spoken. What I didn't tell you, we're filing for a series of cash secured put ETFs.
Oh, sweet.
Interestingly, there's only one out there, and it's on the S&P.
Man, if you need an analyst with that, I know a guy.
All right, I will let you know. We got MicroStrategy, we got Coinbase, we got Nvidia, we got Tesla, and we got the Qs.
All over it like the proverbial large kid's butt on a bike seat.
Yep. All right.
Nice. A couple others to go and review. AMD sort of swinging, but this might be a trap. I mean, I don't know where the chips are looking. We're kind of neutral, but outlooks are like, what's going on with the stuff over in the Asian continent is going to have a lot to do with what's going to happen with this. We have potential to go either way with AMD at this point, and
I like the setup. I don't like the name. I mean, yeah. I think Intel has shown you just because you're a semiconductor doesn't mean you're going to be an AI beneficiary.
Right.
I do like the setup if you're swinging.
Ideal. I mean that, and then what was it yesterday? The CEO of Intel just announced his resignation. I mean,
yeah.
I was saying this a while back. I'm like, if management straightens out their crap, they got potential to go somewhere. Maybe that's starting to take shape now. Maybe they listened. I'm not saying I'm telling the guys over at Intel what to do, but I can see it on the chart. It would make sense to me. Straighten your management problems out, and you got a great company. You can't deny that. That definitely shows up. But with AMD, I'm kind of on the fence. I'm like, well, if we reject here, we got a pretty good shot of one hell of a bearish measured move. If we smoke this liquidity zone, it's pretty easy to see. That target's pretty obvious down here, around 102, 102 to 104. Easy measured move. But if we get a rebound trade first, we might get a reversion back up to, say, 148 or so. If somehow things turn around, sure, we can revert all the way up here to this LZ up here. This is an old zone that we've been messing with for a while now. I don't know about that one so much. I think there's a lot more headwind in place than we can see. And, I think the Q4 earnings are probably going to give us a clue. The other couple of things, we called out BMY here, Bristol Myers Squibb. That target was met and then some. Now we're hitting the full reversion here. I think it's time to take profit on that one.
I would.
I've closed my long on that. I'm happy. I made some pretty good returns on my swings with that. Can it consolidate and run higher? Maybe, but again, there's some headwinds in there too. So there's some issues going on that we may not be aware of. But man, what a run! Really nice trading.
Speaking of pharma, NVO and Lilly have both come off the mat. I probably have options positions that are virtually worthless at this point, and I'm actually not too bad. But yeah, I'm not not as bad as I thought. I'm not adding. I'm scared of RFK here.
Yeah,
interesting. Big move in both names.
Yeah, I've heard some name calling with that as well. So but reversion trades on the chart, pretty obvious. There's a zone right here we're looking to on NBO. These things map themselves out when you just look left. You can find all the LZs and plot them out, so you can scalp them. But definitely know that on inauguration day, things might just change hands in this thing. And yeah, you definitely are right to be afraid of what Mr. Kennedy can do there. A couple other trades we're watching, and we're waiting for this one to follow through specifically. BTU. This thing's usually a beast when it gets moving, and Trump does like coal. So I'm still waiting patiently for that $23 touch. It damn near hit it yesterday with a wick. It was like I was getting itchy fingers here going, man, do I jump in? Wait for the setup to break. Don't trade the setup, trade the break. But watch.
And my setup is 23.79. So I want it to break the 200 dead.
You're looking for the break above the 200, and it's right there. We're almost there.
It is right there.
And I'm just looking for the range between the 200 and this pivot, this reversion pivot, to hold and consolidate and break. So as soon as we break that 200 reversion trade, easy spot 24.95 and then some. Also, there's this angular to be concerned of here, so it's kind of right in that upper range reversion, about the 25.83 mark. That'll be sloping with us, so I'd almost expect some volatility within this wick here between that.
And also look at this daily. A lot of support resistance in this zone.
Yeah, for sure. And then gaps to fill to boot. So things are going to be volatile with BTU and with coal in general.
Always are.
And I've wheel traded this thing in the past and killed it. I've been able to scalp this thing every which way from Sunday. I got in dirt cheap down in here. It was pretty easy trades. Now this giant massive bull flag is pretty obvious, and I went and actually shorted it on this little rejection up here, and that was easy. But now I'm just waiting patiently for this whole thing to break, and if things go into a annual scale where we start seeing the swing above this 28.30 mark, this whole thing becomes our primary, and we could really go and approach this previous high here. It is possible. Long term, I like this thing, and it is an options income beast. Yield is average natural monthly is about 12% on this one. If you're really good with selling calls and puts at the same time for combined premium, this thing is payday. And I love this thing. Very nice moves on it. Very easy to chart. And volatility is high enough to produce some good premium. Another one that we called out that was just a freaking perfection move. That CCJ trade right up to that pivot at $61. Methodical, man. We couldn't have done better. breaking arms, patting ourselves on the back for this one. That was nice. Can it go higher again? Nuclear takes a while to build out infrastructure, and the hype wave has pretty much condensed this thing in this range. So I would probably wait and see if it holds support around $57-58 cleanly before we get to be too bullish on this for the long term. Our trade target's already been met beautifully. Can't complain about that. Be patient. This thing will give us another setup. So for now,
these volatile names like this will always, if you're a mean reversion guy like me, they'll always give you another setup if you miss the first one.
Exactly. And we didn't miss the first one. We nailed it. So give it some time. Let this thing settle out a little bit. It'll give us another trade. We'll keep it on the radar. Yep. This zone here is pretty obvious. We're like in this range for maybe another couple bounds before we decide to break out of it. Give it time. It'll come. iRobot, I got a lot of skepticism when I called this one out, but man, it was beautiful. I didn't even mark out measured moves. I just went pivot to pivot. Market structure did its thing. We're right to that regression line in that channel as expected. Last time we had earnings, we had that spike and drop off, found support, crawled along, gave us a good reversal. Easy trade on this one. Target met. I'm out. I'm good there. I think it may give us a quick reversion again. It did wick it yesterday, but I think we'll probably touch it again around 765, 770 or so, and maybe crawl out of this and start a trend here. As far as market structure goes, this is where, if you've got this capitalization has been extended on this thing, this is the third wave in the squeeze where you would expect this range to possibly form a trend here. If it doesn't, walk away. You got plenty of time to wait and trade other things. But if we start getting above,
I'm not a fan here. It broke the 50-day today,
right?
So I'd be somewhat careful around that level.
Yep, my profit's done. I took the long swing and I'm out. But if we break this level, it's pretty easy to run higher. I wouldn't buy it yet. Yep. Wait for the setup to finish, folding out on this consolidation expectation here. And then we could see another trade come out of this. Maybe not. So on the fly, targets met, profits taken. Wait and see.
There you go.
SMCI, another one I got some skepticism on. Dude.
I wonder why.
That was such an easy trade. Right back to the top of our block zone here. It was just awesome. Nailed that pivot target at $45, and dude, just a freaking sell-off right now. We're looking for a maybe reversion trade back to like $36 is very possible here. Momentum is taking shape on this thing, doing pretty good. Long term, if we blow through this zone here, sure, we can shoot for a reversion target to $62, but this thing's going to give us some volatility and chop beforehand pretty readily, so be nimble if you're going to scalp this thing. It's going to be a merciless beast, so to speak, when it comes to scalping it. In the meantime, we're set up. I almost want to say I can just borrow this liquidity zone or just move another one right down here. It's right on top of this pivot. I don't need to draw it. You can see there were some sellers waiting with limit orders right there. Pretty obvious. Give this time to set up again, but another kudos. We broke arms, patting ourselves on the back for nailing that target. Easy trade, guys. Easy trade. And yeah, I got a lot of skepticism on it. Are you sure this thing's not bearish? This was down here we were talking about it. I'm like, yeah, dude. Look for a return to the zone here. And then I drew this angular on here. I'm like, okay, let's wait and see if we come back through. And we eventually came back through. There was my second entry. Bam. Ride, baby. Did very well. I'm good now. Last but not least on our list of stuff to revisit, TLN. Still waiting on this one. It's been choppy and consolidating for too long. It hit the half target pretty well and settled right on it for, God, it just takes forever to move. But potentially follow through with the breakout, 233.70 target, pretty easy on this one. This is, I have a friend who used to call this the bearfish. It looks kind of like a fish, got a bunch of spikes sticking out of it like a bass. Yeah, be careful here because if this thing gets any sort of momentum to the downside, reversion targets are pretty easy to hit. I'll wait for this one to give us the go-ahead, but this is the short-term side of energy demand. We're going into winter. Things are looking pretty cold this year. AI is going to pull a lot of juice. Do the math. it's looking pretty strong. Plus, I think natural gas futures were up a little bit this morning too, if I'm not mistaken. So I know some people were.
Maybe mistaken.
Some people were.
I'm looking at UNG. UNG is down, but that's
Widowmaker doesn't matter, but
that doesn't matter.
But the natural gas futures, there were a little bit of upswing, like capped at like $3 or something like that. I don't know. I don't trade gas futures. I just trade the other stuff.
No, neither do I. I just short UNG.
There you go. But for energies, for utilities that use natural gas, when margins change, of course, your cost per thermal unit goes up, and their margin goes up with it. So the percentage stays the same, but the amount of money that flows in that percentage when the margins go up tends to make them money. And we got lots of demand. Pretty obvious. So watch for a breakout and follow through to that 233.70 target on this one in this range. If it smokes this and reverts back to 197, so be it. That's consolidation. It's where you typically see some profit taking and some people basically waiting for the shoe to drop to get back in or just walk away. So be nimble with this one. Wait patiently for this breakout to follow through. It'll either break out and touch the target and pull back, or it'll give us a reversion trade. Give it time. Let it shake out. It's coming. Got a couple days left.
Yep.
All right, going into Matthew's picks here. And this, I pulled these straight off of the Heat Formula mailer. So if you want to sign up for that, please do. You get a lot of great insight in there. And for rotation stuff and for themes, that thing has been very fruitful. I've been picking off a lot of good swings out of that. And we got a few things to talk about. So ASML, I was looking at this and realizing I haven't charted this in a while, but I still have my old liquidity zones in there. And this thing has been capitalized to death, and it's in that range where we could see a second beat hit like a reversion target back to this key pivot here. Would you say 728.90 would be a fair target on this one?
729.43 is a 50-day, so we're right in that neighborhood. I mean, this is a weird one because they've only got a couple of clients, and
right.
So every once in a while they get their butt kicked, but you still can't do AI without ASML.
True. And we're kind of, as far as market structure goes, we're right in the liquidity zone where we'd expect to see strong resistance, of course, but a consolidation and break would give you a sweet bullish measured move and nail those targets pretty readily. So, and then revert this entire drop off here, and key pivot area. Hello, reversion target found. 775.48 is pretty reasonable. Would you say that this could be a good time for long-term stuff? I haven't looked at the options chain on this, so I don't know if it's got great yield on selling options. But
they are pricey.
Yeah, I bet.
Because of the stock price.
I bet that is a high-priced stock. I mean, I'd have to put most of my capital into doing one contract at a time on this thing. So I got better things to do for yield, but I'll have to look and see what the yield is on this for options. But that doesn't limit synthetic positions now. Synthetic positions are doable in something like this. You could do the old poor man's covered call. Well, you can also do a neutral situation. You could go and run a straddle long term, leap straddle, and then sell options on both sides of that and still generate premium on it for a lot less risk. It's a little more technical, harder to manage, of course, but it does the same thing as wheel trading. It just pulls a synthetic long position or a synthetic neutral position if you're in a straddle. So it's another strategy.
And if you just want to go long, you could do a debit spread.
Absolutely. And again, when you can minimize risk and maximize potential returns, you win anyway. And some of those debit spreads I trade are way off the mark. They're way outside the price targets or way outside the, not price targets, they're at price targets, but way outside of where everybody else would be trading. So when I'm trading $5 wide spreads for 2 cents and they just skyrocket to $40 sometimes or 40 cents sometimes, those are awesome. This might be the kind of stock to look into that. So if you get some opportunity to look at what the debit spreads would look like in this thing for call debit spreads, I want to say probably 770, 775 spreads would look pretty appealing right now. They might be just cheap enough to give you an edge on that. Maybe look beyond January though. Maybe look for February or March expiration in those. I'll have to look at the chain to verify that, but the setup is right. We just need to wait for this break. And again, this LZ here, it's right at the edge, and it's just testing it. So maybe we get one more little pullback for the midday and then swing out. It could just start breaking out now. I mean, sometimes we start talking about this stuff and it just goes. We're that good. We like to be ahead of it, but sometimes things start taking off as we're talking about it. About 5 minutes left. I know you got a couple other things to talk about. Baidu was one that you had on the heat strategy mailer. I've never been a huge fan of trading it until now. That inverse head and shoulders is pretty obvious. We're right at the neckline.
The Chinese names are starting to look interesting again. Maybe sniff some stimulus announcements.
Right.
I mean, normally I trade Baba, but I don't like that chart.
Yeah, Baba looked like...
I like the Baidu chart much better.
Looked like crap this morning. I just looked at it, but...
Yeah, and PDD is another one. I don't really like that chart.
Yeah. And then, FXI's...
Neo's not awful, but I mean, that... Yeah, I mean, I mean, typically I like either Baba or Baidu, and I like the Baidu chart.
And FXI has been useless for years to me, so...
I mean, K-Web is all right, but I'd rather have the individual names. I mean, sometimes I'll use like K-Web or FXI, do a credit spread to finance, a call on Baidu or Baba.
Right.
And, I probably would have done that when I went into I think I went into Baidu yesterday, but I was too busy to structure it, so I just bought outright calls.
Well, I mean, it's right at the previous target for that MM we were looking at. I didn't draw it because I wasn't very interested, but it was there. I should have put the blocks together, but we're right to target. And if we break out of this thing, the reversion's pretty easy. It's right up here where that LZ is. It's been there before.
Yep.
So, keep an eye on this thing. We could be in a position where we could get a nice secondary move all the way up to that LZ here. And look left. Those gaps tend to fill. So there's a lot of them. We got some potential here, so maybe, keep your ear to the stimulus package news coming out of China, and we should get a good play. MNDY was one that confused me. Where did we find that?
MNDY, I'm short.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. That's a nice rounding top break target down here.
Break of the 50-day.
So we're looking for a move back to like 267 or so, previous pivot.
Or even if I get lucky, 240, which is the 200-day.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I might join you on that one if it's not too late. That little pullback on the trend gave us just enough.
Yeah, I mean, I may add to it if it bumps up against the 50-day and fails.
And these descending channels at the top of a trend resistance rejection tend to be pretty strong with follow-through. So first target 267, second target would be all the way down here to 254. And I think the 200 was right at about 240, 241. So makes sense.
We've got a low at 250, 250.
That could be a good put spread play too.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'll put that on my radar. It's going right in my my options watch list there. We got time for maybe a couple more. I know you're having to bail at 12 here, so.
Okay. What do you got?
Play it by ear. NU, great short. I think it's time to take profit on that one.
I've been short that since it broke the 50-day back mid-November. So that one's been awesome.
Yeah, nice move. And good Lord, this thing could give us a full reversion down to like $8. Heck yeah. The measure move on this particular portion of it, though, kind of met some support here, and there were some buyers right around 1150-ish, 1160-ish. As long as this doesn't turn into a double bottom and it fails here and becomes a bear flag instead, we should be able to resume the short on this. But if I were short on this break, I'd be considering taking a little risk off at this point, just personally. But so far, that thing's been just beautiful for a short. Holy smokes, what a move. I like it.
Actually, I'm good. I'm looking at how much I'm up. I think I am going to take a little bit off.
Yeah. when you start seeing stuff that's beyond 100%, you're like, yeah, dude, I did nothing to get that. Might as well take it before it gets taken back. You know.
Yep.
I like to say when you spend all morning when we're day trading, spend all morning building yourself a nice sandwich. Don't let the market take a bite out of it trying to trade at midday.
There you go.
Go eat your sandwich, have your lunch, and then the market will wait. You don't have to always be trading that. A couple other quick moves. We got NVIDIA kind of lining up. I think we briefed it a little bit, but we're looking for possible follow through on this liquidity zone here, and if we get bullish from 147.50 or 147.60 is an easy mark.
Well, undercut and rally at the 50-day. I think it's a must own, but I especially like it here.
I took assignment a little underwater on my put sales for NVDX, but I think I will be fine to go and sell. Probably. My cost is 1805. I'm in the red here a little bit, but I think we're looking for 1850 to push quickly on this. And then if it breaks through that zone and starts to really walk away, 1990, $20 is pretty reasonable. If NVIDIA remains bullish and gets through this crap zone we're looking at here, so we should see some good swings on that. And then the yield on these things is pretty nice, so I might move out to 2-week expiration and roll in some covered calls in that range and roll with it. Very nice trades, though. Last but not least, OWL. I think you might have been short on that one, but probably targeting the same place around 2250.
You know what? I was watching that one. I want to actually be short that one. I've been watching that one and I forgot about it. Thank you.
No worries. It was on the Heat emailer this morning.
No, I know, and I meant to watch it, and then real life.
We call that distractions.
I'm going to short some of that one right now. Thank you.
No worries. A 2255 short-term target, and if it breaks that, dude, a reversion's all the way to hell down here, like 1755. That could be very exciting. I like the short on this one, too. Very cool.
Me too.
Rejected off that measured move. Pretty nice. And short-term reversion, it's right there. It's obvious, plain as day. Cool moves, man. Great minds think alike. Feeble minds think alike even better. Well,
I should probably get going back to MicroStrategy.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of phone calls, man. I'm sorry. If I could help you, I would.
That's all right.
I don't mind talking to people on the phone.
Not a problem.
Right on, man. Well, have a great one. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And catch us again on Thursday. We'll probably have a few more setups coming through. I think some news is going to start giving us some play.